What if the reason you keep quitting isn't lack of motivation? It's one specific thought you have the moment you slip up. Not the mistake itself, but the story you tell yourself about it. I read a lot of books about habits, and this is the only one that made me realize I was sabotaging myself with the wrong idea of what discipline actually looks like. I used to believe that one mistake could undo 2 weeks of doing everything right. That if I skipped once the workout, the pages, the 5 minutes I promised myself, it meant something, that I'm a loser. That's actually the exact lie this book is built to take apart. So, if you've ever quit something good because of one bad day, stay with me for a few minutes. This is the Life NARY, and today we're talking about atomic habits. If this is your first time here, I'm glad you found it. Here is Life NARY, and here I bring you to the books that have genuinely changed something in the way I think. Not every book I've ever read, just the ones worth an honest conversation. We cover personal growth, finance, relationships, and anything that helps us figure out how to live a little better. I picked this book up on probably my 5th attempt at starting over. You know that feeling? January 1st energy. Except mine was a random Tuesday in March. I'd heard it was just another productivity book, and honestly, I almost didn't read it for that reason. But it's not really about productivity. It's about identity, who you're quietly becoming with every small thing you do or do not. James Clear isn't trying to motivate you in this book. He's trying to make the right thing slightly easier than the wrong thing every single time. Here's the idea actually got me first. Clear does this calculation that if you get just 1% better at something every day for a year, you don't end up twice as good. You end up close to 38 times better. And the opposite is just as true. Get 1% worse every day, and by the end of the year, you're close to zero. It sounds like a trick, but it's really just compounding applied to a person instead of a bank account. And the part that reframes everything is this. It says, you don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. Not, I want to be someone who reads, but I have a system where reading is the easy, obvious next move at 9 p.m. instead of scrolling TikTok. You know, the mentality of small architecture repeated. It's the whole game. Okay, this is the part of the book that actually changed something in me. Clear talks about the 4th law of behavior change, making a habit satisfying. And buried inside that section is this one idea that I think about constantly now. Missing once is an accident, but missing twice is the start of a new habit, the bad one. I used to be someone who, the moment I broke a streak, just let the whole thing go. Missed one gym day, and somehow that turned into missing the whole month. Skipped one day of Duolingo, and that turned to be a month without Duolingo. And what this book made me see is that the failure was never the mistake. The failure was the story I told myself about a mistake. That it meant I was really the kind of person after all who miss one day and the whole game is finished. All or nothing thinking feels like discipline. It isn't. It's actually the easiest way to quit. Dressed up as having standards, it's the actually easiest way to quit. The people who actually keep their habits for years aren't the ones who never slip. They're the ones who slip and just get back in the chair the next day without making it mean anything bigger than that. And here's the question this book leaves you with. If you let it, What would change if you stop treating one off day as proof of who you are and just treat it as a Tuesday? I'll say this honestly, the book repeats itself. The four laws get explained, then re explained backwards for breaking bad habits. And by the back third, you've basically heard the core idea 3 or 4 times in different outfits. I'll say this honestly. It's also a little light on what to do when your environment genuinely can change. When you don't get to just make it harder to see the cookies because you live with other people or your job is the trigger. So it's not a complete psychology of change, but as a way of thinking about small days instead of big willpower. I haven't found anything that replaced it. If you're enjoying this point, by the way, subscribe now because I'm doing my best to record 2 books every single week, and I genuinely love having you back here. So, the one thing to actually try this week, not just nod along to. At some point, you will miss a day on something when you do it. Don't let it become 2. Whatever the smallest possible version of the habit is, do that version the next day. Not the full thing, just enough to keep the treat unbroken. That's it. That's the whole practice of this week. And that's atomic habits, or at least just the part that stayed with me always. If this is something you needed to hear today, I'd love to know in the comment section. And if you want, I'll see you in the next video.